Bonjour à tous, c'est moi, Shaun. Bienvenue dans une nouvelle vidéo about the Jews hentai. Dress divertissant. I met at Abundance Wales. Ratatouille. Alright, I'll stop talking in French now. The game we'll be looking at today is called Chevalier Historie. Verde, le pays où dansent l'esprit. Autrefois, los crâniens ombre maléfique à l'école with la surface. Le roi social son pèse à belle pour la scaler. Une history de pirates et de sacrifices. Anyway, in this game, we're playing as a female knight named John. Man, I can never pronounce her name right. I'm just gonna call her Jean. I don't care anymore. We're playing as Jean, and our job is to protect the princess, Princess Lily. Unfortunately, we are really bad at our job. So she got kidnapped by Bowser's kids and trapped inside Bowser's castle. Of course, we can choose to head over to the castle immediately and try to save her, but we'll get our asses handed to us within seconds. So the best choice to make is to conquer 4 different dungeons, defeat Bowser Jr., save the spirits, and become stronger in the process. First and foremost, holy shit does this game look gorgeous. The sunlight shining through the windows, the particle effects, and the art of the characters are absolutely stunning. This game is also filled with small details that most games would just not bother to add, such as character sprites having unique poses, the ability to play the piano even though there's no reason to put a piano there, but to simply show off, and options to adopt a dog. Yep, you heard it right, there's a dog that you can adopt in this game, which is why this game is an instant 10 out of 10, greatest game ever made. Moving on from that, the main town overall is rather small, with just a couple of shops and buildings that you have access to. And the slum area that is also quite small. There isn't a whole lot to do, and you can easily explore the whole thing within 5 minutes or so. The only thing that is worth doing is interacting with NPCs. Rather than talking to them, there's also a field button that you can click, which will show you 4 different options. Inquire is just more talking. Negotiate can either start side quests with the NPC or receive items from them. Seduce is sex, and steal is just steal. Overall, the field mechanic is alright. It doesn't really do anything special, but it's there, I guess. Anyway, let's talk about the real gameplay of this game, which is the combat. So the 4 dungeons in the game have their own theme, desert, mountain, and such, where they contain their own unique monsters, middle bosses, and final bosses of each dungeon. You, Jean, have 2 abilities that can aid you in battles, which are swinging your sword and dashing. Let's talk about dashing first. By pressing the shift button, Jean will dash forward a short distance, allowing her to dodge enemies' attacks, though I mostly just use it to traverse through the map faster. On the other hand, swinging the sword allows Jean to deal damage to the enemies. Duh. But the broken thing is that you can spam the attack button over and over again, and most enemies in this game get knocked back whenever they got hit. So by spamming the attack button, you can basically take down any monster including bosses in the game without breaking a sweat. Other than this wolf that can turn invisible, fuck this guy in particular. If you for some reason have a really hard time with a certain boss, there's a place called the Enchanting Hillock, a randomly generated dungeon filled with fodder enemies that are perfect for leveling up. On the final floor of this place, you can obtain an item after defeating the boss that gives you unlimited money, which you can use to upgrade your attack power. In short, what I'm trying to say is that this game is so easy that even an infant can clear it. Goo goo gaga. Plot-wise, there isn't a lot to talk about. It can be boiled down to the princess got kidnapped, le save the princess, le live happily ever after, le baguette. The characters are also pretty uninteresting. Jean is strong, cute, and pure. Princess Lily is a princess and she's Jean's friend. The maid, whose name I can't remember, is just kinda there and not at all important to the story at all. Other than having a special CG with the dog. I mean the normal one. What are you even thinking about, you freak? There are also male characters such as Galahad the Knight, Sirius, who has his cock out the first time you meet him, and Regulus, who is a femboy. What? Overall, I would say that considering how weak the plot of this game is, you wouldn't even miss anything by skipping the dialogues. 40H scenes is the same old usual, nice art style and nice voice acting. But I feel like there aren't a lot of scenes in this game, even though I didn't count how many there are exactly. The scenes are split into monster defeat scenes and town people scenes. I personally never fond of these monster defeat or boss defeat scenes, mainly because of the big R, if you know what I mean. Also, I just dislike tentacle and slime scenes in general. I do like that one scene where Jean turned into Undertale Sans for some reason. The most unique point of the scenes in this game, how much presence the guy NPCs have in their scenes. Normally, even if there are scenes with guys that have faces in a H game, they will mostly have their faces covered and voiceless during the scenes. In Chevalier Historie, however, the guys not only have their beautiful faces shown in every scene they're in, but they're also fully voiced. Perfect for people who are into handsome man moaning ASMR, which I would assume no one playing this game is. Like, I can appreciate the idea behind it, but I'm not a Love and Deep Space player, so yeah. The Minotaur and old guy are also fully voiced in their scenes, by the way. Why? In short, the scenes in this game are great, but I just wish there were more non-defeat scenes. Now let's talk about the DLC. The DLC takes place after we have achieved world peace, but not really, since there's a scary dragon that is very bad. Other than the usual newly added dungeons, bosses, scenes, and story, this DLC also turns the game into a different genre. Before it was Jean and her adventures to save the princess. Now it's Jean and her reverse harem of 5 handsome young lads, 2 of whom were our former enemies. Madral is the night guy, remember him? And Dante is this ugly ass in this CG here. Now looks completely different. Oh yeah, there's also Yuri as well. The DLC added a new area where you can take the NPCs on a date, which will turn the game into a visual novel. And if you get the mood high enough, sex time. It's a cool addition to the game, but it's also not very fun. No matter who you take out on a date with, you always go the same way. Take them to a general store or a cafe, pick options that they may like, and hope for the best. It's very tedious, and everything takes so long as well. The animation every time Jean changes her clothes is so long that I start questioning my life. The concept itself is great though. I love taking my mate out on a date and doing some nice things with her. Wait, it's difficult to do with 2 women? Worst game, 0 out of 10. Homophobic game. Alright, just kidding. The options opens after you've obtained the futanari pills. At the end of the game, you can choose to have a partner for the ending. And I, of course, choose the mate. Not because I like her in particular, but it's because she said the name of the game. Honestly, the endings have a lot more focus on the guy's one, as the female cast endings have little to no romance undertone in them, while the male cast endings are just fully shoujo manga or otome games endings. I don't know, I kinda like it. It's such a breath of fresh air seeing male individual endings in a H game, as is usually reversed in these kind of games. Overall, it's a nice little DLC if you want the new scenes and a more satisfying ending for the game, since the base game endings are a little lackluster. In the end, I quite enjoy my experience playing Chevalier Historie. It might not have the best story, characters, or gameplay, but I really like the visuals a lot. Besides, I may have skimmed over some parts of the game, Like how there's a total of 7 endings in the game, and I just got 1 out of the 7. I also find it surprising that I enjoy the visual novel part of the game. It's so unreal to play as a female protagonist and go out with male NPCs in a H game. I'm not gay, by the way. All in all, I had a good time with this game, which means for a scoring, I'll give Chevalier Historie an 8 out of 10. One of the very rare instances I like something that is French. No, wait, this game is made in Japan. Never mind then.